There's so many things in the story that it's just like, we don't have any room for this, and we've just kind of made our peace with that. And I would love to, and this may be a thing that we don't really tackle until after the holiday season, literally just getting rid of some stuff.
This goes out to the challengers. Comics and conversation, y'all. What? Keep the conversation moving along. Keep reading comics, keep your local store strong. And it's hard, and it's a job for the challengers. What? Comics and conversation, y'all.
From Challengers Comics and Conversation in Chicago, this is Contest of Challengers, a comics industry business podcast with Patrick Brower and W. Dale Bush.
I don't know, man. It feels like there's so much happening right now, and there's so many places to start. I don't have a clear way in.
Agreed.
And we didn't do the fun in the middle of conversation.
No, it's true. We can start wherever you want.
Well, I mean, all I really want to talk about is how great the AEW Dynamite parking lot brawl was.
I mean, the whole episode was fantastic, but the parking lot brawl, I'm not a hardcore wrestling fan anymore. I mean, my tolerance for it has lessened over the years as I've seen more and more matches.
I mean, I've literally seen Dal get up and walk out of a room when a hardcore match
comes
on.
I'm just not that interested. This I thought was really exceptional. They used the terrain really well. The moves were pretty interesting. The camera work was great.
It was also organic.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't feel too gratuitous, despite being incredibly gratuitous, because it was a parking lot hardcore match. Yeah, just a really great job by every participant, including the officials and the
Officials, plural.
The quote-unquote fans, the camera crew, the production team, the commentators. Everyone did a great job. It was really, really good.
If you have the ability to somehow go back and watch it from this past Wednesday's AEW Dynamite, it's the last match of the night of the show.
It is Best Friends versus Proud and Powerful.
Totally worth it.
Really, really good.
Oh God, I can't stop scratching.
No,
I'm
you
doing
really
it right
can't.
now. Oh.
But the whole episode was great. It was just a really fun night of wrestling. I'm enjoying AEW Dynamite quite a bit. I'm enjoying Dark quite a bit.
And BTE. I think BTE really is the bow that ties everything together.
And yet it's the first thing I watched for the week.
Yep.
Like, it is the start of my week's worth of wrestling is BTE, and then Dark, and then Dynamite.
There was a period, and this will be the last thing we talk about wrestling-wise. For right now, I'm sure it'll creep back in. I said I'm sure it'll creep back in.
Okay, when you said for right now, I thought you meant for this episode.
No, I just mean for this part of the episode.
Okay.
Because we've already lost people. I can hear them.
I don't care.
moving on to the
could not care
the
less.
new Greg James teaching
Great
podcast. There's a lot of podcasts out there.
There are.
I have no idea what I was going to say. AEW Wrestling, something about it, really good. Yeah. Okay, forgot it.
I realized, because they're coming up on their anniversary show, which is, I think, the beginning of October.
Yeah. The show's the 14th, but their anniversary is October 2nd.
I remember when, a year ago, which seems like 40 years ago, AEW Dynamite was going to be debuting on TNT, and we had already seen a few of the pay-per-view events they'd done.
If you will.
Like, we'd gone to All In, we'd gone to All Out, we'd watched Double or
Fighter
Nothing.
Fest, Fight for the Fallen.
Yeah.
Those all happened.
All that stuff. Before, like, because Full Gear was their first AEW pay-per-view, I believe.
Well, it was their first pay-per-view since Dynamite.
Yeah, I mean...
All Out was their first pay-per-view.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, basically, once they had a TV show, their next pay-per-view was Full Gear. So we'd seen the ones before that. And we'd had a discussion, like, are we going to watch Dynamite every week? And I was like, I'll watch the first one. I was not a weekly wrestling guy. I'd really gotten out of that. Like, I like doing special events, a New Japan thing or an NXT TakeOver or the AEW ones. Sure, a lot of fun. But, like, devoting hours a week to wrestling was just not something I wanted to do. And then, like, literally the first episode of Dynamite, it's like, well, I'm doing this every Wednesday now.
Yeah, you say it was a question if we're going to watch it, but
well,
I always knew if I was going to. I'd fallen out of the weekly wrestling habit, but I was welcoming that to go back in. What I was going to say was I
figured you
was a regular being the elite watcher, and I'd always, like, describe it to you later. Mm-hmm. And then, like, for episode 200, where they had their big Matt versus Nick Falls Count Anywhere on the Young Buck compound match.
Yes.
You watched that.
I did.
And then a couple of other ones, and that just became, let's just add this.
Yeah, mostly.
And I want you to know, Dal,
Patrick,
the sacrifice I make, because it goes up.
You could watch it Monday.
Noon on Mondays, and
you
I don't
work
work Mondays.
Yeah, you're just sitting there.
Yeah, but I save it.
Every wrestling fan in the world has watched it and is talking about it on Twitter and Facebook.
When I pull up 411mania.com/wrestling/news, there's usually some sort of, not spoiler, but article about it.
Sure.
Like this week I knew they were turning Matt Seidel's botch into a storyline.
Sure.
And they did it so cleverly.
So cleverly. A very funny skit. It's I think it was things like Dark and Being the Elite were largely a factor of there kind of being more space in my schedule. A lot of shows that I would normally be watching weren't on.
Yeah.
And nothing was really replacing them. So it was like, well, I usually would watch X amount of hours of television in a week, and now I'm at like half of that. So I can add in Dark and Being the Elite and not feel like I'm over-committing myself.
Sure.
You know? So I will see what happens in early 2021 should any TV shows actually come back.
Broadcast television will never be the same, so you don't worry about that.
Just found out this week that Stumptown
was
got
just gonna
renewed
say,
for season 2. Canceled.
You're going to watch Stumptown in its place? I don't think so.
Because they were unable to start filming at the time that ABC needed them to, because of COVID. Yeah.
Somebody is trying a socially distant comedy, like it's a relationship show that's, I think, mainly done through like Zoom and things like that.
Oh, no, thank you.
I appreciate their attempt.
Nope.
I don't imagine it'll do well, but at the same time, it's also one of the only new scripted programs that's coming out.
Yeah, I don't love the idea of there being a lot of content produced specifically for the coronavirus era.
Yeah, you want escapism.
Yeah, we had said, to bring it back to Challengers for just a second, when we were talking to Gene Ha about the Keep Reading Comics t-shirt, what became the Keep Reading Comics t-shirt, one of the things we'd mentioned was that we kind of want to get away from like anything that's going to be too explicitly coronavirus. Like, we don't want people wearing masks or socially distanced or washing their hands or whatever, because it's like, this is a shirt that we don't want bad memories. Do you know what I mean? We don't want people looking at this t-shirt in 2021 or 2022 and going, oh my God, remember coronavirus? Like, no,
Yeah.
I do not want people thinking about that. I want it to be something that is not optimistic per se, but something that isn't tied to this era. So yeah, a TV show that's about like socially distanced romance, like, no thanks.
What about a TV show about a virus?
No, thank you as well.
Okay. Well, I wanted to, at the very beginning of this, which technically still counts, thank several people for all the wonderful things they did for us, mainly for me, last week. Thank you so much to Patreon Heidi D for the surprise box that came to the store a few days ago that had in it things that both Dal and I could enjoy.
Yes, thank you. Exciting.
Wonderful of you to do that. Thank you so much. Thank you, as always, to, again, another patron, the Springham family, for their bag of goodies.
Mostly Gimli.
They always spoil us.
True.
So many wonderful things.
True.
Thank you to Ashley Challenger, who I had not seen since early March, for A, being my ride, and B, also giving me a bag full of treats to help through this time. Thank you to my sister Karen and her family for also doing something to help out in this time. And my cousin Janine, who also reached out in a way to make things, just, hey, here's something to make things a little bit easier.
Thanks, everybody.
All this time. And I'm not trying to be vague and not like, oh, I'm not going to say what they did. I don't want it to sound like I'm comparing what anybody did to what anybody else did.
Sure.
They all mean as much to me as each other.
That's nice.
So it was wonderful. I am finally home after surgery, obviously. We recorded early last week because of my impending surgery.
Yeah.
Then the episode went up days late because I didn't think I was going to be stuck in the hospital for as long as I was.
Yeah, I think you were originally told, like, you'd go home Saturday, maybe Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, in a perfect world, I would have been out of there Friday right after the surgery.
Right, but they said they were going to probably keep you overnight.
Yeah.
So the idea was, the latest you were thinking you'd be home would be like, midday Sunday.
Right, which is when I can normally post the episode at that night.
Except that's not what ended up happening.
Yeah, I was there till Tuesday, and I didn't want to call you and be like, hey, let me talk you through where the files are on my computer.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I wasn't champing at the bit to do it. I mean, no offense to people who listen to it for free, but if you're listening to it for free, you'll get it when we put it up.
Yeah, and there was only one person that said, hey, where's the podcast?
Patrons got it.
Yeah.
Their regular time. That's all I really care about.
Yep, they got it. That's fine. So I took the rest of this week off. I will most likely be back on Tuesday, depending how one of several follow-up appointments go on Monday, which is I get to go downtown to see an infectious disease doctor. Mm-hmm. That's a pretty fun title.
Do they do both, if you have an inside your body infection, and also if you are infectious, i.e. you can give something to somebody else? Do they do both kinds of infection?
Beats me, man. I've never had to deal with an infectious disease doctor before. I will.
Because when I hear infectious disease doctor, what I'm thinking is that person has a disease that's making them infectious.
Yeah.
But that's not what you have. You have a wound that may be infected and you don't know. Or something inside your body I
had a wound that was
infected.
Absolutely infected, but hopefully is not infected anymore. And the very powerful antibiotics that they pumped me full of for days in the hospital, which wreaked havoc on my system and destroyed all the years' worth of lovely gut bacteria I had built up.
Aww.
And now the antibiotics...
Not your gut worms.
I know. My gut bacteria. And now that I'm on a different antibiotic while I'm home, it is making me itch all over my entire body.
Yes.
And it is so distracting. It's okay if I can not pay attention to it and do a podcast, even though I'm still unconsciously scratching.
You are.
But when you're trying to lay down and go to sleep in a quiet, empty room, it's torture. And I was also describing being stuck in the hospital for 4 days as torture.
Well, there's more than one kind of torture.
Yeah, so not to dwell too much about my hospital stay, but I wore a mask for over 4 days straight, including when I was sleeping.
Yeah.
And I would take, when I got food, which, by the way, their food times are 7, noon, and 5 p.m. That's when you eat.
I'm not even awake for all 3 of those times.
Right? And here's an example of breakfast. A pancake the size of my fist.
Patrick does not have a very large fist, I'll just mention that. He has a regular human-sized fist.
Yes. 2 sausage links. An orange slice, which I think was mainly for decor. A cup of coffee. I don't drink coffee. A carton of milk. I don't drink milk. A container of orange juice. I don't drink orange juice. And for me specially, because they had ruined all my gut bacteria and I wanted more, I got a cup of yogurt.
Yay!
Because yogurt has some cultures. Yeah. So, yeah, super exciting about how great the food was there. And then to be hooked up for an IV the whole time. Anyway, I found out as I was leaving, I didn't have to wear the mask in the room.
I told multiple people that story on Wednesday. And I would preface it with, this is something really funny because it didn't happen to me.
Yeah, I see. They all thought I was just being extra conscientious to them.
Nope.
And at first, people had a gown up in a plastic gown when they came in my room. Because they didn't know if I had corona or not, because, I didn't have a fever or symptoms, but they test everybody who's staying in the hospital. So you get 2 tests. You get both that are the deep nasal swabs, but not nearly as bad as I had heard described from people.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't go into your brain. It's just a really deep swabbing.
Sure.
And one is a quick one, so they can be like, all right, we're safe to operate on you, it's fine. And then the other one, the results take a few days to find out, if you have it. And I was negative on both of those.
Great.
They gave me...
You are pretty negative.
Another swab test for MRSA, which I didn't have that infection, which is great. Yeah. That'd be a real bad one to have.
Super positive.
So, yeah, all sorts of healthiness there. But otherwise, I have 18 staples in my thigh. And I do have a photo available if people want to see it, but it's nothing I would just it won't be the episode image.
Thank you.
That's not a thing you spring on people.
Thanks.
Yeah, so...
I, for the record, do not want to see it.
Didn't think you did? I would never even ask you.
Thank you.
Long story short, that once the staples come out in a few weeks, My leg should be in the best shape it's been since the accident. Like,
that's great.
I was at a good point up until this setback happened, and I should be at a better point.
That's awesome.
From there. But it also makes me not want to...
go back to PT?
Well, yes, but A, do anything.
Sure.
Like, oh, I dropped that thing. I'm not going to bend over and pick it up. Let me go get the grabber.
I think that's maybe just for the time being. Eventually, you'll feel more confident. I
mean, definitely when the staples are out and like that wound is healed.
Yeah, it's okay to be a little safety conscious.
Yeah. So that is why we were late last week, and
now it's week.
I am back, and well, you didn't put it up.
I sure didn't.
It's weird to me how like all Tuesday night and part of Wednesday, my voice was so wrecked from barely using it, I guess, for so long. When I came home, I was talking more like this, more like I don't know what's wrong with my voice. Which, of course, is too bad we didn't record then, because
no, we could have special guest Dirk Wood.
That would have been. Hey, everybody! It's wait, I'm sorry. Is it Dirk Wood? Is your favorite Sirius XM DJ?
Reverend Luke Carl.
Reverend Luke Carl.
I can't believe I remembered his name.
You did. Good work.
I did. Oh my God.
Lady Gaga's former boyfriend, Reverend Luke Carl. I think Dirk's just a little bit deeper than Luke Carl. I think is a different there. But Luke Carl's going to talk to you more about hair metal. Could you tell which one I was doing which?
I could. Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah, thanks.
Where's Dirk Wood at now? He landed someplace.
Image. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's at Image. Yeah, definitely.
Everyone's everywhere.
Definitely. So, Dal, you mentioned before that you don't want to do anything that's really a reminder of the circumstance that we're in and something that people will look back on and be like, oh, yeah, that. You should have mentioned that 2 nights ago when we were taking the photos.
Oh, sure. Oh, yeah. No, that's different. I think it's different.
We have just taken the photos for what will be our Christmas card for this year.
Yeah.
And I know what you're thinking. You guys, it's middle September. You're far behind.
Yeah.
And you're right. Usually we have this done late June, early July. But, we honestly, Dal wanted to do a cast photo card this year because we haven't done one of those in a long time.
When did I suggest that last year?
No, you suggested it. I mean...
Did I suggest it before the coronavirus?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That makes more sense then.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm like, God, why would I have said that? That's insane.
Well, right. But then it's like, we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
Plus our cast is, not 100%.
Well, that's the main reason not to do it is that there's a bunch of people who are like, I would rather not be at the store. And also probably having like 7-8 people in one place is not something I would feel super great about.
Especially since they'd all be crowded together within a picture frame.
Yep.
There would not be social distancing.
Yep.
But normally I do the card and just show it to you. But this time you were an active participant.
I did, yeah. I took a few photos and I added some decorations.
Yeah. So, it's not as elaborate as it would be, but...
Well, this is not an elaborate year.
Sure, but the way the process works is we need to send that card to the printer early November. So we can get the cards back in time and get them all signed by whatever staff we have.
Yeah, because it usually takes us about 3 weeks to get everybody who's currently helping out at the store to sign them.
And we like to have the cards go in the boxes first week of December because a lot of people don't come into to get their books more than once a month.
Yeah, if we started filing them away like December 15th, like we would hit such a small fraction of our subscribers.
So that's the timetable we work at. So we needed to get it done. And previous to this, I'd mocked up a almost completely joking, but not entirely, fun card featuring Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi, the Golden Lovers. That was going to be our Christmas card, which had nothing to do with comics or Challengers.
No, not really.
Yeah, but
I was okay with it.
Sure, it's still there.
Sure,
we can still use it. It's not going away. But anyway, so yes, we started doing our Christmas card this week, which is 'tis the season.
It really is. It's getting a little cool out in Chicago. I mean, there's Halloween candy everywhere, which means it's time to start thinking about Christmas.
That's right.
That's how these things work.
I've seen that a lot of stores have their Christmas displays up already.
Oh God, too early.
Yeah,
too early.
Well, people are trying to force it and force people to give them something to look forward to.
I don't want to think about Christmas for 3 months. For 3 full months? That's nuts.
Christmas is going to be weird. I already have a healthy stack of gifts bought.
Yeah.
That's just how I operate. And I don't know that my family will have a Christmas gathering. That's too many people.
It really is.
This is
how big your nearby immediate family is? Oof. It's a lot of people.
I mean, it's 3 months away. Nothing will have changed.
Oh, God, no. No, of course not. I was talking about that with a customer today when we were talking about movie releases and stuff. And how, like, Tenet's not doing super great, and Warner Brothers pushed back Wonder Woman ostensibly to give Tenet a little bit more space to, like, keep making money in movie theaters. But it's like, it's already dropping off, and people have already made up their minds as to whether or not they want to go to the theaters.
Yeah.
So having it play longer is not helping things. And that's maybe changing some of the equations on things like Wonder Woman 84 and Black Widow.
Yeah.
And other things where it's like, you can push it back to December. Still going to be a pandemic.
Yeah.
Not going to be any better.
I think they should just push Black Widow back to May.
I guess. I would maybe just release it. Just put it on digital and get what money you can get instead of having literally nothing for 18 months.
Yeah.
I mean, one was, it will have been, I think, maybe even 2 years. Maybe. I think the last thing that came up before Black Widow was Spider-Man Far From Home.
Yeah.
And that thing was, what, July of 2019?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I mean, if they want to not have a Marvel movie at all for people for 2 years, that's a choice they can make. I don't know that I would do it. I would maybe just release it. I know that there's a lot of vague contracts and stuff about theatrical releases and stuff, and obviously you're expecting it to make $1 billion, but it's like, look, this is just where we're at. This is where we're at as a world right now.
We're at a point with Challenger specifically where we are fairly back into a routine of being a store.
Yes.
Injuries notwithstanding.
Uh-huh.
And we're still using abbreviated hours.
Yeah.
Which I was thinking, and we'll talk about this more later, but I was thinking maybe we keep them, except like December.
I already changed the logo on the website.
Yeah, you know, I was actually trying to do that a few weeks ago, but I don't know what font you use. And so I was cutting and pasting it, and it was so ugly.
Hilariously, there's just a publisher file that has it on there. I just changed that.
Because I would have dropped in the new logo.
Oh, okay. I'll show you where it is.
Okay. But yeah, I worked on that in Photoshop for a while, and I'm like,
I think it might only be on the desktop at the store.
Okay.
I think it's where I ended up finding it.
Sure.
It's in the web folder.
But I mean, I'm glad you did that, and I did notice.
Yeah, you'd been asking for it for a while, and I finally had a minute, and I'm like, let me just do this and get it done with.
That's a sentence that, depending on context, sounds so differently. You've been asking for it for a while.
Yeah.
What do you think about December only, going back to full hours just for the holiday shopping season? And then immediately cutting back in January?
I don't think it's necessary.
Yeah.
I mean, we could maybe do it the week of, right before Christmas Eve, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I agree.
If you
holiday
wanted...
sales are not strong the first few weeks of December, but
yeah, so I
think
would
it's just
maybe...
easier to say, like, hey, December hours.
Nah, I'd maybe just do it December 17th to the 24th and just be like, here you go.
But something like that, provided that... But anyway, my point was, so there's a level of normalcy to what we're doing, and we are fortunate that we're in an industry where, for all the problems we're having and for all the issues, and we'll talk about a lot of that, I'm sure.
What problems?
Issues? Further on, we're lucky enough to be in an industry that is not anywhere near as affected as so many other businesses, like the hospitality industry.
Yeah.
Restaurants.
I mean,
or movie theaters. Or
like,
concert venues.
Like the movie theater thing that's especially screwed up is like, you know, people aren't turning out to theaters to go see Tenet because they don't want to die. So distributors are pushing other films back, and it's like, that means there's even less reason for people to go to movie theaters that have already reopened and are staffed and are hoping people come in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
it's not going to get better anytime soon.
No, man. And I wonder how the other businesses in these industries can make it.
Most of them aren't. There's a ton of restaurants that are just like closed up.
Yeah, did you hear about Fat Willie's?
No.
Fat Willie's is going away.
Jeez.
They've been around they've been across from the new movie theater, speaking of theaters, for a long time.
Yeah.
I guess nobody comes out after a movie theater and goes and gets barbecue. I
mean, not during a pandemic.
Right.
Jesus.
Southport Lanes, which is open for almost 100 years.
Yeah.
That's going away.
Yeah,
yeah, Fat Willie's was the one that I just heard of, which is a bigger one.
Even the places that can stay. You just showed me that. I mean, this is obviously for different reasons, but Chicago Board Game Cafe got sold.
Yeah.
To Snakes and Lattes, who's going to be reopening it in October?
Oh, you mean like Chutes and Ladders? I get it.
I could not believe that. I got so angry at that article writer.
You did.
It's a play on the children's board game Chutes and Ladders. Technically, it's a play on the children's board games Snakes and Ladders, which is the original version of Chutes and Ladders. But okay, fine.
Which is why snakes and lattes makes way more sense.
Yes. They didn't change 2 words, they changed 1 word.
Why wouldn't they then call it shoots and lattes?
Yeah.
You know? If you want to make sure that it was a board game reference.
Just ridiculous. Anyway.
I wonder if we need to contact whoever the contact is we have now and say, hey, I guess we should take those back.
Hey, do you still have a game store? Do we have a contract?
Yeah. Yeah. Do you owe us money?
Yeah.
We have our books.
Well, I mean, they asked us a while ago, like, hey, we're doing some changes. Do you want us to hold on to the books until we reopen, or do you want them back and then we'll work something else out? And basically, since we had already planned on not having those books, and I don't want to deal with that rack coming back, I just said, hold on to them. So as far as I know, everything is still going forward with the new ownership, especially because the new ownership includes the previous chef they had, who's now becoming like a VP in their company.
Who we've eaten his food, and it's very good.
Yeah. So it doesn't sound like they're changing any of like the infrastructure. Like it doesn't sound like they're, renovating or getting rid of anything, especially not if they're planning to open in October.
So hypothetically, that spinner rack comes back. It would go in sidekicks.
Oh man.
Well, that's where there's room for it.
There's so much stuff where I'm just like, can we just get rid of some of this stuff? This is a larger conversation that we'll have to have down the line. But when I was making some changes to the website, I noticed, and something I still have to change that I keep forgetting to do, is that the About Us page has the old hours. So
Sure.
I'm like, I got to get in there, I got to change the hours. And then I scroll down a little bit, I'm like, oh, look, all the photos that Megan Bird took 1 million years ago, like when we had last done store photos. It looks, in some ways it looks worse to me because we've made changes, we've made improvements, we've, added things that I think make the store a better experience. But on the other hand, there's things where it's like, oh my God, there's nothing on top of the bookshelves because nothing has to be on top of the bookshelves.
Yeah, we're starting to clog it up.
There's so many things in the store that it's just like, we don't have any room for this, and we've just kind of made our peace with that. And I would love to, and this may be a thing that we don't really tackle until after the holiday season, literally just getting rid of some stuff. Just saying, you know what? No.
So my suggestion was going to be, and this is obviously a microcosm of what we're talking about, the single issue kids comics could go on that, and either A, we have more full face graphic novel space on the racks, or B, we just take those down. I
don't know. I mean, if I'm being honest, I like the display space we have for the single issue comics now, and I would not use the spinner rack. I would just try and sell it to somebody or whatever. Like, the problem is there's just so much fixture stuff where I think we just have to make our peace with, like, this is not who we are anymore. This can go away. Like, just stuff that we're going to have to be a little bit more brutal with in favor of a more streamlined store experience. I don't have anything in specific in mind. There's stuff that I'm sure if I saw it, I'd be like, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But right now I just mean in an overall, in the sense of what makes the store look good, there's things I want to kind of get away from, where we've let things just sort of pile up in ways that we had to, because we had to absorb an entire second store.
So you don't want a greeting card spinner rack. I mean, we already have the rack.
I'm sorry, we do?
Yeah, we've had a greeting card. We got it from Donovan years ago.
Oh, yeah.
It's a little half-sized, tabletop one.
I mean, if we could come up with something, but it's, again, maybe this is
because I've been talking to the greeting card guy again.
I've gotten emails. It's maybe more of an early 2021 thing where, once there's other things that are more important and need to be taken care of sooner. But once we get past the holidays and we're into January, which is usually a little bit lighter as far as projects go, because it's slower foot traffic and the weather's not great, like that's when I'd like to have the two of us really spend some time being hypercritical about what stays in the store and what doesn't, and just being okay with saying, we don't need to hold on to this forever. Does it spark joy?
Are you just talking about Kent?
No, we definitely need Kent.
Yeah, we do.
I mean, for somebody...
Kent does spark joy now.
For somebody who keeps going to the hospital, we need Kent.
Thank you, Kent, for filling in
Thanks,
a
Kent.
couple extra days these last 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow, it is the all-star tag team of Kent and Fallon.
Nice. I only left them a 2-item task list. One is keep bagging the back stock in the boxes, which I don't think he actually even started doing on Thursday. And then the second thing is sell some comics, maybe.
Okay, that's a good idea.
That's about it.
This is not a fair question to ask on the podcast, but what was your experience like coming into the store on Friday morning?
So it's funny you should mention that, because Gina Challenger was not disappointed, but one of the things she looks forward to is how excitable, I'll say, you are Friday mornings when she comes in with all the things that you've noticed from how the store was left Thursday evening. And I'd said, there were a few things. Light was left on in the back room.
Almost always is.
Always is. if I usually come in on a Thursday night to do something in the store, the light will be on in the back room.
Yeah.
The back store light switch was not switched off.
Okay.
So half the lights were on in the store.
Great.
The charge terminal was plugged in, which I was super grateful for.
Yeah, that's a big one.
That's a big one. Funny, when I plugged in the iPad for the security cameras,
yeah,
it was at 48%, which means it had been unplugged for most of the day to charge someone's phone.
Probably, yeah.
The only thing that I think I noticed that was like I don't know about that, and I've seen it happen before, so it is a kind of recurring problem, is one of the things that needs to be done on Thursdays is bags and boards need to be made, because we usually are running pretty low. In fact, I had to do 100 of them.
Just to get by on Wednesday?
Yeah, Tuesday or Wednesday. I can't remember which day.
Well, I mean, you had plenty of time either day. You had nothing else to do.
Right. I think it was Wednesday I had to do them because it was running real light, and it was like midway through the day. But anyway, a bunch of them were made on Thursday, and then the restock box was filled up. The display on the counter was completely empty. Mm-hmm. So it's like... it's great that they're made, but they need to be in a place where people can buy them.
80% there. 80% there are the task.
Uh-huh. So I think that was the stuff that I noticed as like... Yeah,
any of the mats pulled all the way back or anything?
I don't think so. I think they were fine. I mean, they were not bad. They weren't pulled all the way up, but they weren't all the way back.
Okay.
I don't think there was anything else. Yeah.
Stacks of things waiting for you?
Yeah, I mean, the reorder had come in.
Yeah.
So that was there. And then another 6 random little golden books from Penguin Random House showed up.
Okay. Were they individual ones or one?
One order of 6, which I'd already filled that spot. So it's like, these go in the overflow box.
You didn't take a photo of the rack, did you?
No, I can.
I mean, I'll be there by then.
I'll do it Sunday.
Okay. Yeah. We got a little golden book spinner rack, which is something I've wanted for a while.
Mm-hmm. It's neat.
And I just tried to buy one.
I'd get a second one.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, the problem is...
Because we still have those 2 boxes.
Well, but the problem is...
You have to buy...
Yeah, you get the rack for free when you buy the exact quantity of books that I bought.
Yeah, and that's the problem is, like, because of that, we could not get rid of any of the overflow boxes that I wanted us to, because it's completely full.
Right.
They don't hold more than what you ordered, you know?
Not only do we have that new rack with, I think it's 48 spaces.
I think so.
We had a 9 pocket.
No, it's like 6 or 8.
Okay. Cardboard stand.
Yep, still do.
And then an overflow box.
2 overflow boxes.
Yeah, which, 2. I mean...
one that we started with and one that came over from Blue. Actually, we lost the box for Blue, and it drives me crazy.
Yeah, it's just
because I had to make a new one, and what I'll probably end up doing, maybe Sunday, I don't know, we'll see, is redecorating it, because it's just a brown box. And I want it, and the other one I did, red paper around it and printed up a little Golden Book logo, and I'll probably just do that again. Because I don't like how the brown box looks.
In theory, we're not going to have that box much longer.
I don't know that that's going to happen.
Yeah. And, I'm okay with keeping our little Golden Book stock at a maximum of 48 different titles. I know we have way more than that now.
We have way more.
It's funny because going through the list, I'm like, it's going to be impossible to get what I wanted.
Yeah.
If I got just Marvel and just Star Wars, we would have gotten it all. But I
like what you picked.
Thanks. I
like the new choices. I thought they were interesting. There's some we'd never carried. Like, I think Solo, I don't think we'd ever carried.
Yeah. But also,
and the Turtle ones we never
Turtle
carried.
Ones?
She-Ra's a good choice.
Yeah.
Could have maybe gone for some of the other 80s ones, but I think She-Ra's sufficient.
I mean, they were, on the first pass, some Ghostbusters one were on.
Nah.
Took them off.
Nah.
There was more He-Man ones we could have gotten.
I mean, the He-Man or Skeletor ones would have been okay, but in general, I like what you got. They're all good choices. Thanks. A lot of them we've had before. Some of them were brand new, and they fit pretty well.
So the way I compromised was I only did the Star Wars movie ones. Mm-hmm. I didn't do I'm a pilot, I'm a Wookiee, I'm a rebel. Fine. Yeah.
I think the movie ones sell a little faster for us than the IMO ones.
I think so, too.
It used to be the other way around, but I think more parents who are getting them are like, I want my kids to learn the Star Wars stories, so I want to get them these ones.
Yeah.
Not just a random Jedi one.
How does the rack look?
Looks great. It's really well made.
Yeah, nice.
And it's a really nice height. It's got great
graphics.
I was gonna say craftsmanship to it. It's really well designed and really sturdy. The graphics at the top, it's just got a round header to it, and it's some Star Wars graphics, some Marvel graphics, some DC graphics, something else.
Hopefully something that we.
Disney or Pixar or something, I can't remember.
Yeah, I initially had all the Incredible stuff on it.
Nah.
And I dumped them. There's a lot of Disney stuff. There's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of little golden books we just wouldn't carry.
Yeah.
But I remember it was like Spawn Comics. There was a time where we didn't carry those books.
Sure.
And then we started to slowly, and then it's like, oh, these do really well.
Yeah.
And they're a really good impulse buy because they're $5.
We had a subscriber come in today who was just coming in because it's his kid's 4th birthday and wanted to get a Captain America thing, and first wanted a pop, and I'm like, we just don't have a pop right now. We had action figures, but for a 4-year-old, the action figure is going to be a little too much.
Yeah.
Ended up buying the Courageous Captain America little golden book. He's like, this is perfect.
Nice. Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I specifically wanted that rack for the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't find one. Used one on eBay. Couldn't find it on Amazon.
Yeah.
And Penguin Random House they don't just sell them.
Yeah.
You have to earn it.
Yeah.
So I bit the bullet. And what was pretty great was putting the order together. Tyne slipped us an extra 3% discount.
Oh, that's nice.
Which really made the whole thing a fully stocked shelf like that.
Yeah.
Less than a double of an empty spinner rack.
Okay, that's cool.
Which I think is a really good price.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely see us potentially down the line, like when we sell out of a bunch of these, instead of doing a big restock order, just doing a second spinner rack.
Yeah.
And then using that to kind of fill out 2 spinner racks.
I wanted to get this in before Christmas. I wanted it to be good for holidays.
Sure.
But also, I got a little worried because there was some chatter on one of the retailer groups about people that had ordered these racks months ago and never got them.
Yeah.
And I think I talked about this last week. I don't remember. I commented on the post yeah, I just ordered one too. Then I get an email the next day from Penguin Random House saying, hey, I heard you some questions about the rack. What can we answer for you?
Nope.
I don't. I don't have any questions.
Just did a me also, and then, yeah.
I just, and then it became oh, who's doing that? What retailer is saying, hey, Penguin Random House, here are the people that are complaining about you.
Yeah.
Which I was not doing.
Yeah.
And they got us this in good time.
Yeah, for sure. We got the books in
last Friday,
and then we got the spinner rack in on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And then
I didn't know either one was coming.
Did not unpack it until Wednesday because Tuesday was very, very busy.
I can't imagine.
For a lot of reasons.
I can't believe you did it on a Wednesday, of all things considered.
Luckily, it was not something I had to construct. It came on a pallet and it came boxed. So once you take the box, the box lifts right off of it.
Yeah.
And then it's just ready to go.
Cool.
I spent more time organizing how I wanted it to be filled than I did actually putting the rack together.
Yeah, that's the thing I didn't take into consideration. What percentage is Marvel? What percentage is Star Wars?
Yeah, it was fine.
So I'm surprised you had time to deal with that on Wednesday this week. I figured you'd spend all your day answering questions about the hero trade.
The hero trade, yes. So for those who don't know, Bad Idea made an announcement on Tuesday that they had magically appeared a new comic book into Bad Idea stores just that day. It was a black and white book called The Hero Trade. And you could get it at your local Bad Idea store.
For those of you that may not remember, Bad Idea is a new publisher who is going outside of every known distribution route, self-distributing books to only a core number of stores that are Bad Idea retailers that had to audition to be a Bad Idea store, and we are one of the stores.
Yep. We were 2 of the stores, now we're one of the stores.
Yeah, exactly.
Ha ha ha.
The joke is on us.
So we got that email basically just maybe an hour or less before it went out to news sites and to fans, before it was publicized, letting us know, hey, that book you guys got 2 to 3 weeks ago, that's from us. This is going to happen. You're going to get calls for it. If you do run out of the copy that you got, you can just take orders for other Bad Idea books.
Yeah, because you couldn't... basically, it showed up...
2 to 3 weeks
hypothetically, it showed up as a single book with no credits and no publisher information, no creator names, and a half sheet of a Xerox piece of paper that said, hey, this is a new indie book. I'd really love you to try it. Don't throw this book away. We're giving you one for free. You can just throw it on your shelf. Someone buys it. You can see if they're excited. Then you can order some more. Mm-hmm. Here's an email address. You can order more books.
Yeah.
And it's the kind of thing that we honestly get, and I'm sure every store in the world gets often.
Yeah.
Somebody saying, here's my book. I'm doing this myself. Please carry it. Here's a free sample.
Yeah. For the record, I don't remember ever seeing it. Not to skip too far ahead, but we spent a little time talking to someone at Bad Idea today because of the stuff that we'll talk about in a minute. And they have tracking on it, and they say it got delivered. I never saw it. Patrick doesn't believe he saw it, but will allow for the possibility that it may have arrived.
That note seems super familiar. Like, I remember seeing that note.
I will also mention here what I mentioned to who we talked to a Bad Idea, which is that our post office is terrible.
Yeah.
They lose packages all the time.
Yeah.
They erroneously state something has been delivered when it has not. Plenty of times.
Erroneously state that a pickup has happened when it has not.
Yeah. So, while it's possible it was dropped off, I never saw it, and honestly, there's a chance that it did get delivered. We did open it. We didn't look at it. It did probably go in the garbage. I mean, I'm not going to say that wouldn't happen.
Dal. You mean recycling?
I do mean recycling. It's a paper product. It's recyclable. So this isn't a thing where it's like, we never got it. I don't know that we did, but regardless, that's not the point. The point is what ended up happening is we didn't have a copy, and the press release that went out basically said, hey, all the Bad Idea stores have copies.
But the way that's phrased right there, it makes people think that have copies plural, as if this is a regular comic book release that we had full access to and could have like up to 100 copies on the shelf kind of thing.
Right. So unfortunately, the way it was put across to consumers led a lot of people who had subscribed to Bad Idea stuff to contact us to make sure that they were getting it because they asked for all Bad Idea stuff and they just wanted to make sure theirs was waiting for them. And I had to go, not only do we not have any, we would have only had one. So there were a lot of people that were going to go without. So we had a variety of people who were Bad Idea subscribers email us, and I had to tell them all, no, I'm sorry, we don't have that. I can't get it for you. And then additionally...
Can I just say how bad I feel not being there?
I can
imagine.
All this? Oh, Patrick,
stuck in a hospital bed.
You saw a bunch of the emails.
I did.
You were kind of there for it. And then Wednesday we had a lot of people who, once Bleeding Cool posted a story about a new Bad Idea book came out. It is incredibly scarce. Here are the stores that carry it, including their phone numbers. We started to get a bunch of phone calls from people who were just calling, going down the list of every store to find someone who still had a copy that they could be sold. The main problem with the supposed benefit of this was that, again, even if we had a copy and we sold it or got rid of it in some way, everybody else who's asking for it, we can sign them up for Bad Idea comics. Every single person on Tuesday who'd emailed us was a Bad Idea subscriber. There was nothing I could sell them. They were already down for Bad Idea stuff.
Yeah, there are people who are already in our pull system.
This was just books. This was just a thing that they thought they were going to get, and I had to tell them, you're not getting it. I wish you had not thought you were getting it, because you're definitely not from us. And then the people who were asking for it the next day, we're not going to subscribe to anything because they just want this one thing. They're not curious fans. Tuesday was, activated fans who got told no, and then Wednesday was people who just wanted the hot book that they could sell for more money. That's it. So Tuesday and Wednesday was kind of a frustrating experience of having to apologize to people for something I had no real control over, for something they either misunderstood or just was not made clear to them. So it was a really frustrating 2 days. So frustrating, in fact, that on Tuesday I did the thing I don't normally do, which is I emailed the company who had put this in motion and said, hey, here's my bad day. Here's why this didn't work. Here's the reasons why this was not successful. But bookended with, I believe in what you guys are doing. I want Bad Idea to succeed. And the thing I'd said at the end of the email was, I don't want to feel like you're succeeding at my expense, and that's what today felt like. It was not a day where I could succeed with Bad Idea and make a bunch of money. It was a day where I was essentially acting as a PR punching bag for Bad Idea. That's not great. What I was very grateful for was that we did get a phone call from a Bad Idea representative today, and got to talk to them for about 10-15 minutes of them kind of talking it over and sort of what they were expecting with it, and listening to our concerns and validating them, and feeling like this was not something that, one of the things that could have happened is we could have gotten a call or an email from someone saying, I'm sorry you felt that way, basically. Where this worked out for everybody else. I'm sorry you didn't think it was good. But this was something where I felt like we were being understood and that we were not wrong, and that this was something that they are taking all feedback into account, and this won't happen again. They will do other things and they will have this in mind. And there's even things that they have been talking to other retailers, and they know that there's essentially a laundry list of ways that this screwed up, that this was not what they wanted it to be. It was successful in so much as we're talking about Bad Idea.
Yeah, it got publicity for them.
Yeah, it definitely reactivated a lot of people who maybe hadn't thought about Bad Idea in the last 4 or 5 months. But this did not go how they wanted it to go. And they're aware of that, and that was nice. And it was, I mean, I was not mad in the sense of like, I don't want to deal with Bad Idea ever again. There was maybe a brief window on Tuesday where I had that mindset, but I cooled off a little bit.
Sure.
In the heat of it, like, because one of the additional things was this was all happening on Tuesday, and in general, we don't have the bandwidth on Tuesday to deal with stuff like this.
So normally,
yeah.
And when it's a Tuesday when Dow's doing everything because I'm in the hospital.
Yeah, where I came in, I got to the store 2 hours early, and I was still basically getting stuff done right at the end of the day. It was just a disgusting day of having to deal with stuff. So yeah, having to do that, and then also field a bunch of Bad Idea emails where I have to, at a certain point I was just cutting and pasting a response to people because everyone's response was going to be the same, which is, no, we don't have it. I wish they had not made people think we had this. I'm really sorry.
I think the worst part is the number of people that, like, let's say we did remember getting it and we had it.
Uh-huh.
What would we have done?
Right.
We have a couple dozen or, a larger number of people who are down for their books.
Yeah.
We only had one copy. So no matter what, 95% of the people or higher, will be disappointed they don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, what we would have done with it would have been like a raffle. We would have done something where, basically people who are subscribed to Bad Idea or are willing to subscribe to Bad Idea books would be entered into the drawing, and then at the end, someone would win it. Just, we didn't pay for it. You don't have to pay for it. You'll just get it, and that's it. So, I mean, that's what we would have done with it, because I don't feel comfortable putting some, big-ass price sticker on it just because that's what it's going for online. But the alternative is, like, I couldn't just give it to one person, because who would you even pick? The first person who asked for it? Like,
right.
That would just feel weird to me, where it's like, I don't like... I mean, not to segue into something that's kind of not really comics related, but, like, all the stuff that's been going on with, like, graphics cards and the PS5, where stuff's just being snapped up as fast as it can go, and if you aren't sitting at your computer when that store goes live, you're not going to get it. And I don't like that idea. I don't like the idea that a Bad Idea fan who maybe found out about it an hour after somebody else is already too late to get it, Like, if we were to raffle it off, there would be a window of time where it's like, you have until this point to enter the raffle. It's not just, you need to have already been a Bad Idea subscriber to be in the raffle, and now it's too late. Like, no, we'll give people a window of time to participate, if we had one.
Do you think those graphic cards are being snapped up by people that want to resell them, or just want
Oh my God, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I was reading a thing on, I can't remember what it was, if it was Kotaku maybe. There are bots that are designed specifically to snap up limited edition merchandise that goes on sale at websites.
Great.
There are crews that started on things like streetwear and shoes, because limited edition drops would happen, and they would, like, a website would go live and they would have a limited amount of merchandise, and when it sold out, it sold out. So they were bots that basically can run transactions and total them out faster than a human being could actually enter their information. So the bots are able to do multiple transactions in a row before anyone can even get it. Like the graphics card one, I don't remember the manufacturer, so forgive me for that. I'm not a PC gamer.
Already your story is losing credibility.
I know. But there were people who basically have a video of, like, being on the site when it went on sale, and it was like, it goes from, like, unavailable, meaning it hasn't started selling yet, to out of stock without ever having the buy button go live. That's how quickly it sold out. So stuff like that. And so as a result, like, I don't feel comfortable doing things where there's just a first come, first serve attitude for something that limited.
Right.
Obviously, for single issue comics or whatever,
Sure. Or, for example, right now we have a book plate for the Boom Studios comic adaptation of Slaughterhouse-5.
Yeah.
The Kurt Vonnegut novel, now graphic novel, written adapted by Ryan North.
Mm-hmm.
And we were lucky enough to be part of a group of stores put together by Escape Pod's Menachem Lucens?
Lucans?
One of those.
Lucens?
One of those, for sure. It's definitely one of those three names.
Lucent?
And so we have a book plate. Like we used to
I
do...
like that you nailed Menachem and then can't get the last name.
But I mean, Menachem is a normal name. I mean, Menachem.
But that's the thing. Like, you
right.
hit it real tight. The last name was like...
I don't know that I've definitely heard his name pronounced. He was on an off-panel episode. I've definitely heard his last name. I don't remember it. I apologize.
Sorry, I didn't mean to get you off
But
track.
like we used to do the Ex Libris Challengers book plates.
Sure.
You know, it's an extra, just a bonus thing. You buy it, you get that.
Yeah.
And we have that for Slaughterhouse. How's that doing, by the way?
Good. I mean, we got our restock in, and we didn't sell out in the meantime. So there was never a point where we were out of stock on it.
Okay. But not like, oh, we're going to get stuck.
I don't think so.
There's another one.
While I was dealing with the restock, before I'd even put it out, there was a stack of them on the side counter.
Yeah.
And the subscriber who was in getting the Courageous Captain America for his kid, on his way out was like, can you also put this aside for me for next time? And it was a Slaughterhouse-5.
Huh.
So it's like, yes, sure. Anyway, sorry.
There's another one we'll be doing in theory, but
That's cool.
But a much smaller quantity.
Okay.
Because it's a book that I'm not as excited for.
You'll have to tell me which one it is, and I'll have to tell you if I'm excited for it.
You're not. And so like that's a thing we did as a bonus to anybody who already signed up for it.
Yeah.
But I didn't, like, I specifically made a post saying, hey, we're not, like, you can't sign up for it now just to make sure you get the book plate. Now it's just on the shelf.
But
But
even then,
we had plenty.
we knew we had enough.
Yeah.
In my mind, like, I don't mind if something sells out. Like, I don't want to say I don't mind if something sells out in a day, but if it's been on the shelf for a day, I feel like that's the least we should be able to do for people, you know?
Yeah. Agreed.
So something where, you know, there's a window where people can participate, where it's not incumbent upon them to be, you know, right at the buzzer, right when it starts. Like, I don't want that. I dislike that intensely. But anyway, getting all the way back to it, the hero trade thing, stressful couple days. Bad Idea knows that it didn't go exactly how they wanted it to, or maybe there's some stuff they overlooked that they can take, you know, into account for next time. One of the things I like about them as a publisher, and I told them this today, is that they're constantly trying new things. They don't just have a standard playbook. They're looking at different ways to get attention to their brand and also to the medium. So that's all stuff I really appreciate. It's just this one in particular maybe didn't work.
And we play their games. We went through the Button Cup. We made it into the final 8.
Good job.
I want to say that of the final 8, we had the least amount of clicks total from anybody in the top 8. But that's fine.
Sure.
We did what we could.
We beat some people.
We did. We made it numerous rounds.
We did.
And it took up a lot of my time as well
did.
as specific customers who were engaged in it as well. And again, thank you for that,
everybody.
So yeah, we'll play their games.
Yeah, I there was only a brief period where I'm like, I don't know that I want to be a Bad Idea store, but I got over it. I was hot. That's all.
Although I do feel the pandemic didn't do them any favors, and I think
that was also one of the things.
A lot of the excitement for them is lessened.
Yeah, it's especially tricky because I mean we talked about it. I don't know if we ever talked about it on the podcast, but you and I talked about it when, you know, the comics publishing game was starting to get impacted by coronavirus. That when your whole business model is only physical stores have it, and you have to go to them before they run out. That's really tough to make work during a pandemic.
Yeah.
I think it's less of a problem now than it was when things were shutting down. I mean, their original launch plan was like the first week of May, and it's like most stores weren't even open then.
Yep.
Like that's definitely not viable.
We weren't. We definitely weren't.
Yeah. So now I think it's a little bit less of a problem because, you know, there's a lot less, if any, I think lockdowns. We'll see what happens, you know, in the next few months.
Yeah.
But in general, like, I think you could probably get away with their original business plan now. It's just a matter of, you know, kind of re-educating people on what Bad Idea is and what their books are and how you get them, and all that
for
stuff.
anybody who really missed out on getting the hero trade, that it was just an ash can. It was just a short story. That'll be reprinted in the back of ENIAC number 3.
Okay, so there you go.
So you'll get to read it.
Yeah.
You won't have the super rare limited edition collector's item, but you get the story, and that's what Bad Idea wants to be.
Yeah, I think that's cool. I mean, it's certainly, I think that's, for people who were more excited about it, it was because, it was a cool Dave Lapham. Matt Kint, is that who wrote it?
Yes.
That sounds like a pretty great team that you'd want to read a comic from,
Matt Kint has a lot of bad ideas.
He does.
And by that I mean ENIAC, Monolithic, Hero Trade.
Which one's Monolithic?
That's another one he's doing.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
So while you have a company that focuses on storytelling and getting the single issue comics, you now have a company that is doing a complete 180 from their we don't want gimmicks mentality, as Image jumps on the bandwagon of doing gated variants and store variants and all these things that they said they would never do.
Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, you've already seen it with Department of Truth. There's like 100 variant.
Oh, you mean the incentive variants? Okay, sure.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, I'm sorry. What does gated mean to you?
Usually means you have to order X amount of copies, and then you can order whatever you want.
Okay. Yeah.
So like
incentive copies,
like the hip hop covers.
Store covers. There's a lot of.
Well, they've offered store covers plenty of times in the past.
Yeah, but then they didn't do it for a while. But now they're doing it again. But now they're doing a lot more.
Are they doing
incentive covers?
Team variants now?
No, and DC's team variants I think are such a bad idea. They're doing a team variant.
Can you rephrase that?
Oh, I agree. I think that DC's
such a poor idea.
Team variants are nothing we would do.
Yeah, they showed off the 3 that they were doing for Batman, Catwoman, and none of them were ones where I'm like, I want 500 copies of that.
And the worst part is, even if there's one you're like, oh, I love this cover a lot, you can't guarantee which one you get.
Well,
you get what they give you.
So here's the thing, so the way the team variants work, because I read it over again today. Let's say there's 3 covers, A, B, and C.
Yeah.
You give them the order that you want them in.
You have to order at least 500 copies.
So you're committing to 500 copies. And let's say you're like, I love the A cover. I'm okay with the B cover. I don't want the C cover. So you give them the order of like A, B, C. If they don't have, because they're producing a limited quantity of these, and it's first come, first serve. So if by the time you get it in and you say you want the A cover and they don't have the A cover anymore, then you get the B cover because that was the second one you said. And if they don't have the B cover, then you get the C cover. Conversely, if you say, okay, I want the A and the B, I want the A cover, or I'll take the B cover, I don't want the C cover, and then they don't have the A or the B, you get nothing.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I honestly didn't like any of the 3 that they did.
No, and I don't know that I have liked. Like, they did a Peach Momoko for one of their books, which I'm sure that's what everybody wanted.
Probably. That's probably why they had to do the you get what we can give you rules.
It's just that they have the premium variants, which we have with the Joker, 3 Jokers, and then you have I don't know, it's a bad idea. I'm sorry. It is an unfortunate choice of publishing plans.
It's a bad concept.
And then now you have Image doing a whole bunch of. Did you see today's New to Order? There's a bunch of like, hey, here's a scumbag 1 in 100 cover.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Stuff like that.
Commanders in Crisis, I think, is another one that has some incentives.
Yeah.
Which I mean, on the one hand, I respect a company that doesn't want to do that or is less inclined to do that. I liked when Boom said we're just going to do one cover for Once in Future.
Yeah.
And then sort of made up for it with like 7 reprints or whatever. But I like that they just said, no, it's just, here's the comic book. Just read the comic book. But I find it hard to argue with incentive covers as much as I do, a ton of variants or whatever, mostly because, I mean, you qualify or you don't,
Yeah.
Like, fighting about incentive covers feels like fighting over digital codes. Like, you've already lost. The market's already decided.
And look, I'm not complaining that they're doing it.
Yeah.
It's just that they were so vocal about variant covers being harmful to the industry.
But they lost.
Yeah.
They lost that fight. Like, that's kind of what I'm talking about. It's not just like us as a retailer being like, I'm upset and I wish they'd stop doing that, so much as like, even at a publisher level, like you can not do it. It's not going to help you.
True.
And so you might as well end up doing it. If everyone else in the market is doing it, what are you gaining by not doing it?
Well, Dal, if all your friends jumped off a cliff, would you do it?
I mean, I don't like cliffs or friends, so probably not.
That's fair.
Uh-huh.
You know what I don't like?
What's that, Patrick?
I don't like how any service I get or any product I buy comes with an immediate survey.
Really? Like what?
How was your experience? Please take this 5-minute survey to tell us what your experiences were with this doctor, this hospital, this puzzle you just bought online.
Yeah.
Do you not get those? Review this product. Rate this product.
The only survey I do is Sarpina's because they give me $1 off my next purchase if I do it.
Okay.
And it's super easy to do.
And I'll be honest, I know that surveys are important for feedback for a lot of companies.
Yeah, I mean, I'll do them sometimes for like Chipotle. Back when Chipotle was a place that you could eat at, you could take surveys and stuff, and occasionally like the people there were like, could you please take the survey? Because they, it helps their ratings for the store and it does good things for their employees, and they know that I'm going to give them a good review.
PNC, I had to go into PNC recently to get a debit card, and I've gotten multiple, hey, don't forget to fill out the survey emails. And if you just give me a quick, 10-question, multiple choice, or true or false, or whatever, or, rate this on a scale of 1 to 10. But when you have essay questions, you lose me. I close it immediately.
Yeah, or here's 7 things. Rank them in order of preference. Yeah. And then once you're when I'm on page 3 of your survey, it's I don't want to do this anymore, unless there's something in it for me.
We've talked about in the years and years and years ago about trying to do surveys, and we couldn't figure out a way to do it where it's not taking up too much people's time, giving us valuable information we could use, or just a thing that people would want to do. So we never did it.
Yeah, I don't even know what I would ask people.
Right.
I know there's a lot of metrics and stuff that businesses and consultancy firms will use to sort of figure out how to improve a business. But for me, it's a lot of the things that you would ask somebody, it's I'm not willing to make those changes. So why even ask if people would prefer if we do it a different way?
And I hate that it's everything. And admittedly, if you use a credit card at Challengers, we use a processing service called Square. Mm-hmm. Square gives you the option of leaving a rating or a review or something. Not like Google or Yelp where you go out of your way to leave an email or to leave a rating. Although I guess Google does sometimes prompt people.
I think Google does if you have an Android phone.
Yeah.
Because it's usually what we'll find out. Because sometimes we'd get a bunch of Google reviews and I'd ask people when they come in next, what prompted you to do that? And it's I was leaving and my Android phone's do you want to review that business?
Gotcha. But there's too many, and I don't like doing it. And I, as a business owner, we don't do it to people. And again, I would do it if it was less of my time wasted. And also, I don't like it when it's multiple times from the same people. Don't send me a survey after every time I use your service.
Yeah, that's unhelpful. It's automated, but they should automate it differently.
I realize they're valuable, but I used to hate when it was a thing that was tied to performance or... like you just said for Chipotle, they're told you have to get people to fill out the survey.
I don't know that I don't know that I'm told that it's that important to them, but they will occasionally bring it up, and it's it's a small thing I can do for them, and I get really good service at Chipotle, and so I'm going to leave a good review and B, hopefully a detailed enough review that it gets a little bit of traction within their reporting structure. The main one of the main things that you can use for reviews is to find out how a location's doing. And, us not doing reviews or some sort of surveys is the same thing with the Secret Shopper program where I don't need to be rated because I'm the person who's going to read the rating,
Sure. Well...
it's nice to know if a random person had a good experience, but it's not my job is on the line.
I know, but there can be valuable information given in those. More often than not, there's... significant errors.
I mean, it's nice to see sometimes. If we get a positive review, it's I'm glad that I helped someone in a way that made them happier or whatever. But, the downside is doing a big survey, it seems sort of pointless to me because you get the thing of well, what if every single person was we want more back issues? You're not going to get them.
Sure.
So what's the point? Would they be happier? Would the store be more successful? I guess, but that's just not us as a store. It's saying that, they want more water slides. Okay, you're not going to get them. I'm sorry if that would make the store, the best possible experience, but we're not a store that's going to have water slides in it.
And the majority of surveys we've ever done online, or polls, I guess, are always a 50-50 split.
Yeah, right.
It's never worth.
No, that's not true. Sometimes they're 33, 33, 33.
Yeah, there you go. There you
unhelpful
go. What is helpful to the comics industry is a brand new charity initiative. Have you heard about this?
Yeah, I can't remember the name of it.
Give Comics Hope.
Yes.
Or if you like to read it the way I do, Give Comic Shop.
Yeah. I think it's intentional.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
When I saw the logo, I'm like, I think that's why they did it that way.
Huh.
Comics Hope is like Comic Shop.
Yeah, but shop is usually, if you have an E on it, it should have 2 P's.
It should, it's true. But then Hopi
doesn't mean
as much.
It's set up by a former Diamond VP, Bill Shanes.
Mm-hmm.
And it is another instance where they're trying to raise money to distribute to comic shops to help through this time. There have been a lot of other initiatives, and this is also being handled by Bink,
cool.
who handled the last one.
Sure.
If you go to givecomicshope.org, it tells you all about it. One of the ways you can help is, rather than just donating money directly, you can donate collectibles that will be auctioned off, and the money goes to the charity.
That's great.
And it's Jesse James Comics and his whole online shopping network will be handling a lot of that fulfillment.
Cool.
And I think Heritage Auction is involved for auctioning some stuff.
Okay.
There is merch already through Threadless, but nothing comes in my size.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Which is, it's just 2 t-shirts. It's just the logo or the logo in a circle.
Okay.
No like hats or bandanas or fun swag like that.
Sure.
But it's a kind of thing where we will definitely apply when the applications are available.
Okay.
But I always feel weird telling people, hey, this is the thing you can support, because it sounds like we're just trying to raise money for a thing that's going to help us. It goes to how we didn't overly promote our Gene Ha t-shirts.
Sure.
Because the world was on fire, and it's like, hey, you can give us money too.
Yeah.
And I looked around, I'm like, I could donate some stuff. Then I thought, I can just donate that to the store, and then we can sell it, and the money goes right to us. But then it's like, well, how are we contributing?
Right.
But then, do we contribute to a fund that is to go to pay for us?
Yeah, it's a good question.
I mean, it's a weird thing. So if anybody wants to look at the website, check it out. Man, the medication is really kicking in. I'm really getting a little loopy, and I'm stumbling over my words a lot.
Do you feel as scratchy?
No, I mean, it's a little downplayed, yeah.
Okay.
The stuff you brought me home today is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I figured.
So I think we will wrap it up. The other 2 topics I had on the board weren't that important.
Nah.
And I also didn't have Give Comic Shoppy on the board. But yeah, givecomicshope.org. It'll hook you up with the benefits and how it works and what you can do. And it's a thing that I want us to be able to support, because I want to be able to support other comic stores.
Sure.
But I don't know how to do it.
Yeah, we'll have to think it over.
Yeah, there's some stuff up there I think might, but who knows?
Who knows?
I don't know. What I do know is that I am thankful that you listened.
And keep reading comics.
I thought you were going to do and I'm thankful you are reading comics.
This has been Contest of Challengers. Thanks for listening. Keep reading comics. Challengers is located at 1845 Northwestern Avenue in the Bucktown neighborhood of Chicago. 773-278-0155. Keep up to date with new releases and events at challengerscomics.com. Like Challengers Comics on Facebook, follow @Challengers on Twitter, and help fund this podcast at patreon.com/challengers.